Hi folks, I had some movements and details from Derek Libby's dad in a video about 2 weeks ago that apparently Richard Allen's defence team is oblivious to. I want to go over it and show you exactly where I got the information from. I don't want to end up in a court document being accused of having leaks or something. Richard Allen's defence team filed a motion last night to compel discovery and request sanctions due to discovery items that were handed over late, stuff that they had to specifically go ask for, stuff that they were told doesn't exist only for it to be found later, and stuff, very concerning details about a professor who thinks that the sticks are runes and how the prosecution dealt with that information. There are a lot of really interesting details in this filing, but I'd urge people to remember that this is a defence filing and they have been very creative and clever with their wording in previous documents, as has the prosecution. It's not one-sided. The PCA itself is an example of that. They are brought up to it, and that's why we need a trial ASAP, in my opinion. Just show your cards to a jury. The geofencing and geodata stuff is very interesting, but that's going to be a bit messy, I think. I've made a video on it before. It's worth checking out if you haven't seen it. I'll link it above. But apparently there's a map of phone movements and it's missing reports, context and follow-up. I would be very interested to know how this was allegedly done, because based on what they are legally allowed to do, this should not be possible. It should not be possible to have one so accurate anyway. Is it someone just guessing, or is it based off actual data? We don't know. And the defence themselves are like, if this is a load of BS, then please just tell us. But we've no context around it at all, and we've no document to say that this isn't true. It seems like the defence also believes that maybe there was a second phone found perhaps. The full document is updated on my community tab. I post a lot on my community tab, so make sure you're subscribed so you see it. But there's some very interesting details, and you're left with a lot of questions. But I want to talk about what they said about Kelsey and Derek, because that's shocking. It's a fundamental, basic component of this case, and I don't understand why, after almost 18 months locked up in a prison, that this stuff isn't handed over to the defence. It's also worth pointing out maybe, and please don't jump down my throat, because I know a lot of people who watch this channel disagree with some of my thoughts on the defence team, but it's worth pointing out that they talked about the crime scene movements in this doc, and they could have easily put in stuff about Derek and stuff about Kelsey right alongside of that, out of context, and fueled some fires. They didn't, and even with Kelsey, they called out that this is for the purpose of establishing a timeline. They could have leaved that out easily, but I think they are aware of some of the torture and nastiness that Kelsey has had to put up with over the years online, and this shows some bit of morals and ethics in my view. It seems there are some lines that they won't cross, thankfully. Kelsey's movements and Derek's movements, there's nothing strange with them wanting to have that. That's very important when you're trying to recreate what happened. And for the defence team not to have these details is unacceptable in my view after 18 months. These little details matter. One of the things I talked about in a past video is how allegedly the killer, which allegedly is Richard Allen, how close they came to Derek when they were walking back to their car. Muddy and bloody, allegedly, and with Libby's underwear and her sock in his pocket. So have Richard Allen's defence team not even realised this yet, because they have no movements or timestamps in discovery from Derek. It's not right that any YouTube channel can put movements together, but a defence team cannot. There should not be any details that people on the internet have that Richard Allen's defence team don't know about. That's ridiculous. I'm going to play the little map animation with Derek, Abby and Libby, Betsy, Sarah C, FSG, and I'm going to play it alongside where I got all the information on Derek. And you'll see why I had certain timestamps in there, and you'll see why I had Derek moving in certain directions at certain times. When it comes to Sarah C, one of the witnesses who contributed to sketch 2. I have her passing BG east of Mare's Lot. This is not confirmed. We know she was captured on camera at the Hoosier Harvest Store at 15:57, and Derek also made a call at that time. She said BG was walking on the north side of the road, the same side as the Harvest Store is on, and he's not captured on that camera. So at very least, at 2 stages, if what Sarah says is true, BG switched what side of the road he was walking on. And BG is allegedly Richard Allen, according to the prosecution. But keep an eye on BG and keep an eye on DG, Derek. The audio that I'm going to play alongside this is from Scene of the Crime podcast, episode 2. I will link that down below, but Kelsey, Libby's sister, is a producer on this podcast and she's talking quite a bit. So I trust the info about the phone calls because Derek more than likely has a screenshot of the times that these calls were made. So here's the audio alongside the animation. I have the animation sped up a bit at the start and then slow down at the end.
Libby had made arrangements with her father, Derek, to pick the girls up between 3 and 3:30 p.m. at the same spot where they were dropped off by Kelsey. Derek had been required to drive to Frankfort to do some appraisal work for Becky, so he was out of pocket until sometime in the mid-afternoon. Derek told Libby that he would call her when he was approaching the area, so she and Abby could be sure to be back at the parking area waiting for him. Derek's first phone call to Libby was placed at 3:11 p.m. He was calling her from his car as he drove across the Wilson Bridge, a few minutes down the road, to let her and Abby know that he was nearly there. Derek was surprised when Libby's phone rang and then went to voicemail. He called her again at 3:13 p.m. as he arrived at the parking area and sent her a text, but got the same result. This was very unusual. Libby knew that she was to answer her phone when family called, and they had made a plan for Derek to phone her, so her not answering was concerning. Derek got out of his vehicle and, seeing no sign of the girls at the designated meeting spot, started walking. After a few yards down the path, there is a junction where there are 3 different directions in which he could have proceeded. One was the High Bridge Trail in the direction of the old train bridge, the 501 trail toward the southeast. One was a shorter downhill trail that ends at Deer Creek, the 505 trail. The last was the 501 trail that leads away from the High Bridge and to the Freedom Bridge over the Hoosier Heartland Highway. As Derek reached the 3-way fork in the trails, he noted an older gentleman in a flannel shirt returning from the High Bridge Trail. Derek asked the man if he had seen 2 girls, and the man responded that he had not. He had seen a man and woman down under the bridge, but no girls. Thinking that the girls must have gone a different way, Derek took the 505 trail down to Deer Creek, but, finding nothing, turned around to return to the trailhead area, calling Libby's phone again as he walked, at 3:24 and 3:32. When he reached his vehicle, Derek called his mom and Libby's grandma, Becky Patty, at 3:33 p.m. to tell her that he could not find the girls, and Libby wasn't answering her phone. After he called Becky, he called his sister Tara and left her a message asking whether she had heard from the girls. Derek then walked toward the Freedom Bridge and again ran into the older man in the flannel shirt. And again, there was no sign of Libby and Abby. Frustrated, Derek turned around and went back to his car. Calling Libby again at 3:57 and Becky at 3:58. It was now approaching 4 p.m. The girls were significantly late. Derek began to be alarmed.
So I hope that explains why I had certain movements for Derek. Like I said, maybe BG passed him before he got back to his car, but that would leave a lot less time at the crime scene, and it doesn't really explain why he was walking on the north side of the road and not captured on camera. I'll go into that further in an upcoming video. Let me know what you think. Good luck. God bless. I hope everyone has a nice day.